today that we would do a yin practice. So grab some pillows, or if by chance you have a block or a bolster, you can grab that, just in case you might need it. I thought first we'd start grounding and centering ourselves, coming into our body, checking in, seeing where we're at today. So find a comfortable seat, closing your eyes, and take your focus inward, taking a big inhale through your nose, and an exhale out of your mouth. See if you can lengthen the exhale. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. One more time. Inhale through your nose. And an exhale out of your mouth. Begin to breathe in and out of your nose, just noticing the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice if there's any hesitation in the breath. See if you can begin to smooth it out, letting the inhales meet the exhale, and the exhales meeting the inhale. And just become aware of any sensations in your body as you're in your first pose. And just acknowledging them with loving kindness, acceptance for what is. And keeping in mind that everything changes. So from here, let's do a little movement before we settle into our poses. So let's start on all fours. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Tucking your toes under, maybe give you a little stretch in the arches of the feet. From here, we'll move through cat and cow. So bringing your gaze up, lifting your chin, lifting your heart, allowing the belly to sink down as the tailbone lifts up towards the ceiling. Then reversing that, bringing your tail in, tucking it in, inflating the upper back, and then slowly drawing the chin in. Starting with the chin, drawing it up towards the ceiling, lifting the heart, lifting the tailbone. And then from here, rounding, starting from the tail, tucking it in, inflating the rib cage, the upper back, bearing the chin in towards your chest. And last one. And exhale. Finding a neutral spine here. We'll do some dancing lions. So I'm tucking your toes and then circling around. And you can make this movement as big or as small as you wish. If you want to lower the hips down to the floor, move a little side to side, you can do that. It's just about some organic movement and just kind of checking in still with the body and how it feels. And then we go the opposite way. And then pressing yourself up. And we'll come into our first pose, what's called butterfly in yin. So in yin, let's remember there's always a target area, a specific place that we're trying to get in touch with. And so it's not about what the pose looks like, it's more about where we're feeling the pose. So this butterfly, it's about the inner thighs and the outer rotation of the hips. So you might find that you drawing your feet in, maybe moving your feet away from you, supporting your outer thighs, your knees here with some props. Any kind of variation like that. Some of you might even want to come down onto your back. So settle in, get curious. We want to target the inner thighs here and the hips. If you come forward, you are going to get into the lower back also. I'm going to use my prop here to prop my head up, giving it a little support so I'm able to relax. So go ahead, begin to find your pose where you're going to feel those target areas the most. Remember, you don't want to go to a place that you feel any sort of pain. Pain is not good. It's an indication that we're somewhere where we shouldn't be. So you want to back out, adjust your position, okay? And we hold these poses longer, so the sensation gets more intense the longer we hold them. So settle in. Let your breath flow freely in and out of your nose. Slowly make your way out of the pose, taking your time. Assisting your legs back together. And then from here, you can just windshield wiper your legs side to side. Sometimes that feels really nice. There's also the option what we call rebound. And that's where you come down onto your back into a Savasana position. And you just observe the body coming back to what feels like normal. So you feel the chi, the energy, the prana, the life force moving into the body, moving around. Maybe areas that were constricted. You feel the blood, the flow coming back into those areas. So just taking a few moments wherever you're at. And when you're ready, we'll make our way back into a seated position for our next pose. So this one is called Antler. And I'm gonna actually use my block here, but you don't have to. You're just gonna be sitting on your heels. Your target area is gonna be the quadriceps, so the thighs. And then your hips are slightly inner rotating here. So this is the most modified variation of the pose. Some of you might find that sitting in between your feet is comfortable. You can do that also. You can also come all the way down onto your back. You just want to make sure that you don't feel any strain in your knees here. So I'm actually going to use my block and place it underneath my buttocks. You can grab your pillows or bolster. So I'll give you a few moments to kind of settle in. Target area, once again, thighs and hips are slightly inner rotating. So in the last pose, they were outer rotating, and in this pose, they're slightly inner rotating, depending. So if you're sitting in between your feet, it's gonna be more of an inner rotation than this variation. So settle into Antler pose. Remember, you don't want to feel any pain in your knee or any area of your body for that matter. So we're going to sit here for a few moments. So get settled. And I like to close my eyes. Alleviates any distraction. And just a quick reminder too, yin is known as the quiet practice. So after I give the directions and we get into the pose, I won't say much after that. So I don't want to take away from your experience. that rebound. Slowly coming up. If you came down onto your backs. Now we'll move into what's called Sphinx pose or seal. So coming onto your bellies. The modified variation is going to be your Sphinx pose. So you'll start off with your elbows underneath your shoulders. And your hands, you can move them to the corners of your mat. So our target area here is going to be the lower back. The legs can be together. It's going to create a little more compression, and then option for the legs to be hip distance or as wide as your mat. So you have to play with that. Figure out what works best. We want to relax the legs. We want to relax the lower back. The only thing muscular-wise that we're going to be using is our arms to lift us up if we need to take a different variation. So you can come up, this is called seal pose. Walking your hands in more is going to create more of a sensation in the lower back. And then from here, the shoulders can come up towards the ears. It takes more energy to draw the shoulders down. So find what works best for you and settle into your pose. So the target area is the lower back. Legs are relaxed, buttocks is relaxed. Remember, we're going to be here for a bit, and the sensation is going to get more intense the longer we hold the pose. Remember, you can use your pillows and your props too to also place them underneath you if you need it. So, a few moments, settle in, and then we'll begin. you slowly come out of the pose. Pausing or maybe moving around. Sometimes it's nice to bend the knees here and windshield wiper the legs. Whatever you choose, do it with awareness. When you're ready, go ahead and push yourself up. We'll take the legs out in front of us for our last yin pose, which will be caterpillar. So I'm going to show you some variations here. So you can bend your knees. You can take your arms underneath your body and grab opposite elbows. This is a nice way to give you some support. Our target area is going to be our lower back and our hamstrings. So this could be enough for you today. Some of you can extend the legs and grab the ankles and you're folding forward here. So you might feel this more in your hamstrings for some of you, and some of you might feel this more in your lower back. You just don't want to feel any pain wherever you're at. So settle in. You could use a strap here. I'd just be worried that you would be using too much muscle to support yourself. So you want to be more passive, so more relaxed. So once you get settled in, you kind of allow yourself to fold into yourself, so to relax. So hamstrings and lower back. How can I get in touch with that part of my body? slowly ease out of the pose. Maybe do a little movement or come down onto your back. Eventually we're all going to meet on our back in our final rest, but take a few moments here. When you're ready, settle down. You can use your props, maybe placing them underneath your knees here to support your knees. Takes a little pressure off the lower back. Opening your feet as wide as your mat. Taking your arms out. Taking up some space here. Really letting go. There's no more work to do. We just surrender to the moment. Taking a big inhale through your nose. And an exhale out of your mouth. Remembering the exhale is a gesture of letting go. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, let go. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Let the body relax while the mind stays awake. And it just witnesses the thoughts as they come across like clouds floating by or leaves in a stream. Noticing the space between your thoughts, the space between the clouds. Where the sun is always shining and the sky is always blue. That place of peace and clarity that's always with you. It's just hidden by our thoughts sometimes. Stay as long as you'd like, resting. But when you are ready to come out of the pose, you'll bend your knees, you'll roll to your right, coming into a fetal position. I'm just taking a few moments there. Letting the body wake up slowly. And then coming up into that seated position. And take a few moments here, moving into your meditation, contemplation, prayer. May your heart be filled with love, peace, light, and joy, and the light of truth overcome all darkness. Namaste.